Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. No, it's been a long time again between videos here, and I apologize. Just sometimes life jumps up and fucks you in the ass, right? What I want to take a look at tonight is this new Comcast saga. It seems like we go through this quite a bit with our boy Phil here, right? Every year there's some big issue with Comcast, right? Let it be the Comcast hacker that actually never happened. We'll get into that because he gets into this here. The video we are looking at tonight is from Monday's Level 1 Goutcast. Apologies for the quality of Phil's video. It is set to 1080p. I am getting this from DSP Gaming. It's just that, again, you can see how pixelated everything is, right? Phil, your new equipment, the $10,000 plus investment in your new setup looks no better than your old setup, right? And of course your audience isn't going to tell you this because they know if they do, you'll just end up banning them, you'll attack them, whatever, right? Phil, your stream looks no better than it did before. Okay, I'm just going to throw that out there. But I want to take a look at this Comcast issue because Phil really bullshits about this Comcast issue, and at first it was just like, yeah, they're just doing maintenance in the area, and now it's ballooned into this thing where he's going to be down for 6 weeks, and he's really guilting his audience to give him money for this. He doesn't know if he's going to be back on Friday or whatnot. I've actually contacted Comcast. I know what's going on in the area. We're going to take a look at all that. I have everything prepared here. On the right, yes, I am playing Diablo 4. Season 10 just came out yesterday, so I'll be doing that while we debunk this video. So let's just jump right into it.
Okay, so folks, here's the deal. Before we get to Q&A and everything, here's the deal. This morning, a fan of mine reached out to me. Now, of course, you have to understand that whenever I get a message from a fan, I got to take it with a grain of salt. And what I mean by that is I don't know if it's real or not. It could be completely fake, or it could actually be a real fan who's concerned and who just wants to help, because I've had both. All right?
Hint, hint. We always get this from Phil, like a fan has sent me an email, a fan has contacted me, blah, blah, blah. And then the email sounds like it came from Phil himself, which it probably did. So this email that Phil is talking about probably never happened, okay? And Phil is just, you know, being Phil, and he's going to do whatever it takes to fleece whatever amount of money he can out of his dens.
But what I'd like to do, I'd like to share with you a message that a fan sent me this morning in regards to this Comcast upgrade that's going to start happening as of this Thursday the 25th. Are you ready? So here we go. Hey Phil, I've been debating sending you this email because I don't want to stress you out anymore or anything, because this could be a pretty stressful information for you. Great. That's a great way to start a message, isn't it?
Notice how he isn't actually looking at an email, like he's not reading the email. That's how you know that he's just bullshitting. He's making it up as he goes.
Okay, let's continue. I had the same exact Comcast network upgrades in my area a few months ago. So it sounds to me like Comcast is actually doing this network-wide across the country. It's actually not even Comcast that does these upgrades. It's subcontracted out to another company that does all the work. So what that means is these are not even going to be Comcast workers that are doing the work. They're hiring a crew.
And this is true, right? Like in Canada, though, where I am, most of the ISPs, they don't contract out anymore. They are like, say, like Rogers or Bell or Telus. They are Rogers, Bell, or Telus employees. That's how this is done. In the States, it seems like they still contract out. Now, this isn't a like we know this email is fake. Phil got this in his email. Let me show you guys this right away here, right before I die. This is what Phil was sent, because this is what I was sent, right? So here is the information for the maintenance notification for Phil's area, right? So what's being done in Phil's area is just an enhancement to business internet. Now, what this is because Phil lives in an older area that doesn't support fiber, they're doing what's called enhanced coax. And all that is they're just upgrading the terminal within the node or the router. I'll show you guys that here right away. so they get somewhere safe. Now, what is actually being done in Phil's area? I'll bring up this is the FCC map for Phil's area, and this is basically just when it comes down to fiber. You can see Phil in the red here, right? And that means Phil doesn't have fiber access. He only has coax. Now, there are two types of fiber available worldwide. You have FTTN or FTTH. FTTH is basically pure fiber. That's fiber to fiber connection. What Comcast does in the US is what's called FTTN. It's kind of the worse option, and that is fiber to copper. Now, how that works is going from your home to the node that's located somewhere in your neighborhood. Mine is actually located right on my front lawn. That will be copper, right? Now, I actually have pure fiber that goes into my home. I have fiber to fiber. Now, that means I'll have the best speed that I can get. It helps me with what's called buffer bloat, if you've ever looked into that. Fiber doesn't really suffer buffer bloat. Cable being second place, DSL being last place. You don't want to be on DSL. What Phil has in his area is fiber to copper, meaning that the node going to the main hub is fiber, and then going into Phil's home is copper. That's not what they're doing here. They're just enhancing the coax at the node. That's all they're doing. And that's just maintenance of the node. They're adding in a new terminal. And they could take the node down, which will cause some outage, maybe like an hour, if that. I used to do this when I worked for a company called Shaw here in Canada. Now, this isn't really going to increase performance for Phil whatsoever. What this is going to do is this allows for, yes, faster coax speeds, but again, Phil's going to have to upgrade his Comcast package, right? And the problem that Phil is going to see is not that it's going to be any slower or faster for him, it's just going to be more money. And we already know Phil blows a lot of money. Coax itself has... theoretical limit is about 40 gigabits down, 4 gigabits up. We're nowhere close to that, right? So fiber, I think they've clocked it at most, I think it's like in the petabytes at this point. So, like, we don't need that speeds for home, but that's not going into Phil's area yet. That is planned for 2026, 2027 for the rollover. And the reason for that is because Phil lives in a private gated community, Comcast needs to get special permissions to go in there and upgrade. So that's all that's being done for Phil, is he's just getting enhanced coax. And that doesn't mean they're running new lines to his house or anything like that. They're just upgrading the nodes in his neighborhood.
Who probably know, are used to like laying out new lines, whatever it is, and they're going to be doing all the work. So it's not under the regular scope of Comcast work. I'm not exaggerating when I say it was at least 6 weeks of internet outages. I missed the button. I wanted to play that one earlier, but I missed the button. 6 weeks.
That's not going to happen. Okay, now, I have personally seen issues, but this is basically in newer areas where they have to go in while construction's being done. Some homes may already be up, and they don't have the fiber lines put in yet. Yeah, and that's for the entire neighborhood. All they do is side drill. Like, if they're going to install new lines, and the problem with the United States is the infrastructure is pretty bad in the United States, right? Like, lines there haven't been upgraded 50 to 60 years. Like, when I worked for Comcast myself and HP, we were all told, like, the infrastructure there is garbage. A lot of people are going to be calling in with internet problems. That's just how it is. Phil lives in an area that his condo was built in 1990, I believe. So his home's been there for about 30 years. Phil does have coax issues in the condo. Phil's admitted to this. He needs to have a booster put in to boost the signal to his so-called studio on the second level of his condo.
Weeks. Okay? Let me continue here. It wasn't out every day or anything like that. So basically it wasn't complete no internet. But rather, it would cut in and out almost every day. There were some days when it was fine, completely, no problems at all. And we actually had thought for a bit that the upgrades had been finished, only to find out the internet was out the next day. And it starts going in and out all day again. It's extremely frustrating. After we called Comcast, they told us they're doing nationwide upgrades to their network. It has to be done. There's no way to avoid it. They did eventually credit our neighbor $100 on their bill because he called them and hassled them on the phone for 2 hours about the internet being out for so long. I've never contributed or chatted in your streams, but I'm a years-long viewer, and I want to give you a heads up on what very well could possibly be coming your way this week, so you're able to adjust accordingly.
Now, this is basically Phil pushing the nuclear option, right? So Phil's going to fleece his viewers now for as much money as he can. Basically, like, he's being slighted by Comcast because his internet's going to be out for up to 6 weeks. It's all bullshit, right? Phil right now is lying. This email was never sent by a fan. Phil made all this up just to get money out of his audience.
Okay? Now, for the record, I appreciate that this fan sent me this message. This is not, oh, this now is going to make Phil be feeling bad and he shouldn't have sent it. No, I need to know this stuff. Because the sad fact is a company like Comcast is not being transparent. What Comcast should have done right up front is said, hey, FYI, we're upgrading the network in your area. This is not a one-day job. This could be weeks. We're going to keep in touch and let you know everything step by step. What they did do is...
Okay, let me stop you right there, Phil, because, again, this is the narcissism coming out, right? Like, everybody needs to contact Phil personally and tell him that this is what we're doing. This is every step of the way. They did, right? That maintenance email that I showed you from Comcast, Phil knows. Phil knows what they're doing in his area. They know how long it's going to be out. Actually, I'm just going to show this right now. This is the outage page for Comcast with Phil's business here. Let's get this up. 1755 110 Renton, Washington 98055. So this is the outage map for Comcast. Okay? Now, they have informed we'll be working to enhance the Comcast business network in your area on September 25th, 2025 at 6 a.m. Pacific. You'll experience services outages during this time. We anticipate completing our work within the day. We apologize any inconvenience and appreciate your patience. So they've done their due diligence, right? They have notified everybody in the area, and currently there is a little bit of outage in Phil's area, not in Phil's area, because here's Phil. And this is just some outage. 1 or 2 people are out in those areas. So they know exactly, Phil knows exactly what's going on. And Phil, of course, is making it look like he doesn't know anything. They haven't told him anything. They've sent him all the emails, right? He knows exactly what's going to be going on. This is the maintenance.
They wanted me to confirm my phone number to say that they're supposedly going to be texting me to let me know exactly when the internet is going up and down. They're supposed to, okay? But they never said anything about, oh, this could be a 6-week ongoing process. Your internet is up and down and all around constantly. Because here's the deal. If that's the case, then I can't consistently stream, right? And that's a huge problem. That's my business. As I've explained to all of you, the on-demand videos are not my major source of income anymore. The on-demand videos that I put on this channel do give me some revenue, some ad revenue, but it's just not even close to what I make on streams. The income that I get from YouTube and Kick is way more than what I make on the on-demand videos. So you might say, well, hey, if the internet's going to be down, you could just record offline and upload the videos and we'll watch later. Well, number one, how does it guarantee me that I'm even going to be able to upload these videos in a timely manner if the internet is going to keep going out? And number two, not everyone is going to say, oh, I'm just going to watch the on-demand video. You guys are used to coming to streams. A lot of people come to streams and they interact and they contribute because they can talk with me, because they can get that level of interaction.
Okay, so this isn't Comcast's problem. Phil signed a document when he bought, or not when he bought, but when he signed up for his Comcast internet. Now, Phil renewed his Comcast packages back in, I believe it was September and October of 2024. Phil got because Phil's contract was up, so Phil signed a new 3-year contract. He has a video on his channel where he talks about how he's upgrading his lines and blah, blah, blah. And, like, you're going to sign a terms of service. And Comcast, yes, they're going to have to do maintenance. Yes, they're going to be doing, your internet may go down, right? Acts of God, like if Mount Rainier erupted and Phil's home was burnt to the ground. That's not Comcast's fault that you can't stream Phil. And you signed that agreement for Comcast stating that you are okay with that and that you agree with their terms of service. So it's not their problem if you can't stream. Okay? You're the one that chose that type of business. That is a you issue. That's not a problem with Comcast.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, this could be a huge problem for me. Now, here's the thing. There is one saving grace in this message that was sent to me. The saving grace is this. Did you hear what he said? He said they are hiring contracted workers to do this upgrade. So what does that mean? It means that they're going to have a Jasper Kitty? Well, I'm going to have a Jasper Kitty. They're not going to have a Jasper Kitty. It means that they are going to have a set contract with set working hours and set work established for each day. You know what I'm saying? This is not, oh, it's our employees and we're paying them hourly. This is a set contract of work. Therefore, what I suspect will happen...
You don't know the contract, Phil. The contract could be for hourly work. You have no fucking idea. You're just making this up, right? Like, you are a bachelor's of science in finance, but you're also bankrupt and working on Bankruptcy 2.0. You have no idea how the contract between Comcast and them has been signed, okay? These hourly workers are going to get paid hourly by their company unless they're on a salary basis. But then how overtime works is also calculated, so you don't have a clue, Phil. So don't be making some kind of statement like this when you yourself are unemployable and have no idea how a fucking contract works. Remember, you screwed Respect the Pack out of a contract, and you admitted to that on the John and Rambo React video.
Happen is that they will begin work at a certain time every day, and they're probably going to finish their work at a certain time every day. And as this person is saying, the internet was never just totally out. It was down and up all day. So what that sounds like to me is there's going to be some days when I'll be able to stream no problem whatsoever, as if nothing's wrong. But then there's going to be other days when basically the internet's going to be up and down all day, but at a certain time, their workday is going to end, because that's what's in the contract. We'll work till 6 p.m. and then we're done, right? So if I can figure out the actual time that these guys stop working and the internet...
Actually, in that maintenance email, it states 6 a.m. to 12 a.m. Again, if Phil would have read the email that Comcast sent him, instead of just reading your internet may be out and then freaking out, you know, that probably wouldn't be as bad for you, Phil.
Will be up and not going down and up all day, then I can maybe adjust my streaming. If this means that I need to start my late stream on the earlier side and go longer, like right now my late stream starts around 7. We start playing games around 7:30, and I finish around 9:30, 10, right? What if they stop work around 5, 6 o'clock, I can start my stream around 5:30, we start gaming at 6, and we go till like 9:30, 10. So now at least every day I'm putting in a 3 to 4 hour stream. Even if the internet's down earlier, I still have the ability to go do a major stream, and people could hopefully come by during that stream and support it, okay? The truth is I cannot not work for a month and a half. So if Comcast thinks that's what they're going to do, they got another thing fucking coming, all right? Their internet has to at least work.
Again, Phil, that's not their problem. You're the one that chose this type of business to be in, and if they are doing maintenance to their system, they do have redundancy, which you're about to state that they don't. You just don't want to set that up.
Work somewhat so that I can work. Because if I find in the first week that I can't work at all for a week, I'm going to be contacting them with a lawyer.
And it'll be thrown out instantly because you signed the terms of service. Like that, again, that's not their problem, Phil. That you stream from home, even though your HOA states in your HOA agreement that you cannot operate a business on property, but, you know, that's something for you and your HOA to discuss. You love to threaten now with lawyers and lawyers and lawyers, but you ain't going to do shit. Okay, let's admit that right now. You ain't going to do shit because you're now going to have to open up your financials to prove that you're losing money. And you can't do that because that's going to show, again, how much of your money you are blowing. That's why you're never going to do anything with a lawyer.
It's that simple. I'm not going to be out of business because Comcast doesn't know how to run their business, okay? Also, if this does happen, and if we're in a situation where the internet is not working for a week, I may have to look for another ISP. Now, I already did that 2 years ago, and there was nothing. There was nothing. The only thing available was like Starlink.
Okay, so in Phil's area, there is multiple ISPs available. The problem is for Renton because, again, Phil lives in a gated community. He doesn't have fiber. And a lot of the new startups, a lot of the ISPs that are in Renton operate on fiber. So, again, that's Phil's problem. Like, here, let's bring this up. So this is the top 11 internet providers available within Renton, Washington. So you have Quantum Fiber. Again, Phil can't use that because he doesn't have fiber. You have AT&T Air, but it's only up of 300 megabits connection in Phil's area. We're going to discuss this. You have Xfinity, but Xfinity doesn't go to 2 gigabits in Phil's area, unfortunately. That's what he's on now. Viasat, T-Internet, Verizon, again, 300 megabits. Again, we're going to discuss that. HughesNet, CenturyLink, XNet Wi-Fi. That's fixed wireless, so that's going to be probably like an air thing, right? And then Starlink. And Starlink in Phil's area is really bad. Like, I'm just going to state that out right now. It is pretty bad. I do know that they are trying to get new contracts and permission to run their satellites in a lower orbit, which should increase the speed. And then they're probably going to be introducing new satellites anyways in the future that are going to be able to do even better, right? So within Phil's area, there's only a select few that he can do. They're just not going to provide... They're either going to provide the same speeds that he's getting now or worse. Like, so he can go to this, but we'll discuss this closer to the end of the video because I want to answer some community questions that have been asked.
Okay, that was it. So I don't think Starlink's going to be any better. All right. Now, I don't know. We'll have to see. All right. But what I'm hoping is that it's not as bad as it's all being made out to be. If it's a few days and it's up and down, I get it. If it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, no. I'm not going to not work for 6 weeks, especially with this last year. Allow me to explain. This last year has been absolutely amazing. You guys have come out and supported me in droves. You've got me to a situation where things are going good to the point where now I can start to save money. And I can actually start doing that. In my home this year, I fixed things that have been broken for a long time. I was able to improve my lifestyle. I'm not now going to go into debt to be able to pay things for a month and a half because I can't work because Comcast thinks they're going to take my internet down. No, that's not happening.
It's not your internet, though, Phil. You are paying for a service from Comcast. It's their internet. And again, you sign that terms of service. So when Comcast needs to do upgrades in the area, when I had fiber put in here, right, my internet went down for an hour as they side drilled from the node on my lawn into my home. And then it was back up, right? That's all it took.
Under no circumstance am I going to lose a month and a half of work and Comcast is going to get away with it. No. Okay? So, let's see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. The thing is, I don't want to be drastic. I'm trusting what Comcast is saying, that they're going to keep me in the loop about when the internet will be up or down. All right? And if they say, oh, today your internet's probably going to be down all day, I'll let you guys know. And I'll say, listen, I can't stream during the day today. Maybe we'll try for a night stream. In the meantime, I'm still going to be working. I'm still going to be doing content. You understand? I will do content. Does it mean that I'll be able to play every single game I want to play in October? Maybe not. I don't know. The thing is, exactly, Stormforce Gamer just said in chat, all we can do is play it by ear. You're right. That's literally all I can do, because I don't know what's going to happen. It could be that this is something that's done within a few days. It could be something that's ongoing for 6 weeks, but it also could be that we know the time frame, and if
you literally know the time frame, Phil. They've stated it to you in the email and on their outage page. You know the time frame. Chances are you may not even go down, right? Chances are this is going to be done at 6 a.m. and it'll be done by 9. And then you can stream. You're just jumping to conclusions and then trying to trick your audience into believing you and give you money. Okay? There's no issue here.
If we know the timetable, if we know 9 a.m. the internet's going to go down and it's going to be iffy all day, but it'll be back by 6, then I'll start streaming at 6:30 and we'll be here for 3-4 hours every night consistently. And I'll just have to find other things to do during the day, whether it's a gameplay session and I upload on demand, or if it's something else.
Or you can just play WWEC like you do on your days off anyways, or, go post on LTG detractor videos on the comment section insulting LTG. Or attack people on Twitter like you usually do. There's lots of stuff. Let alone, we know you're not going to spend any time with Kat, right? Right? Kat's got Tyrone. So you're just going to be sitting up here in the office, maybe looking at the Leanna nudes while playing WWEC. That's my take. That's what you're going to probably do.
Else, but I'm going to be leaning heavily on hoping people show up to those streams that I can be here to support me, or else I'm out of business. That's how serious this is. And with Comcast, I hope they understand that. I'm not going out of business because they want to upgrade their network. That's not how it works.
That's not their problem, right? You chose to be a streamer instead of having a real job, right? You beg for money. Comcast is a multi-billion-dollar corporation. You signed a TOS. Who's going to win in this situation here, Phil? Not going to be you.
Absolutely not. So, here's what's going to happen. I am not going to stream Thursday because that's supposed to be the first day that this is going down. All right? I'll try to keep you all in the loop. My expectation is I will be back on Friday with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds Premiere and Silent Hill F. Okay? That's my expectation. I'll be here on Friday. Now, if the internet is going up and down and up and down, and maybe we try to stream, and if it doesn't consistently work, what can I do? I can keep trying and just keep gaming and playing, right? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does. And...
Whoops, my bad.
Hello,
what did I click on? Oh, no. There we go.
Silent Hill F. Okay? That's my expectation. I'll be here on Friday. Now, if the internet is going up and down and up and down, and maybe we try to stream, and if it doesn't consistently work, what can I do? I can keep trying and just keep gaming and playing, right? If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does, it does. And people just have to understand that you're watching the stream, it may go down for an hour, then come back for an hour, and then go down for an hour, and we just have to be okay with that. All right? Or it could be I just don't stream during the day, and I try to stream at night when they're done doing the messing with the lines. So, let's see. Again, we can't actually fully plan for this. I'm flexible. If I need to adjust my time that I do stuff, I will do that. All right? I will. But I need you guys to understand. I'm going to probably make a special video to explain this and make it a separate video than just this podcast. I need people to know what's going on.
Oh, yeah, you got to milk it, Phil, right? You got to milk it. You got to confuse your audience and trick them into giving you money as best as you can. Because that's the only way you make money. You lie. Just like how you're going to lose the condo, they need to give you money. That was never going to happen. Now your business is going to go kaput because Comcast is doing maintenance in your area tomorrow. right? Like, you never change, Phil. You haven't matured. You haven't changed. It's the same fucking grift day in and day out for the last 16 years. Nothing's changed.
The problem here is that I am known as Mr. Consistency, right? I am the guy who is here literally every single day streaming. I'm the one who puts out tons of content. If I'm not available to do that, that changes everything. And now people might be like, oh, well, now Phil's not consistent anymore. Now I'm not going to watch it. That's not fair. I'm here. The internet, that's the problem, not me. Okay? So,
I've done everything right. I've done nothing wrong, right? Everybody remember that statement from Phil? Right? It's the same thing. It's never Phil's fault, right? This possibly can't be Phil's fault, right? Comcast, they should never upgrade. Phil's going to be stuck with bad internet and issues forever, right? That's what Phil is stating here, right? Like, they shouldn't be doing this because it impacts Phil. How many people live in Renton, Washington? I'm not even going to look it up, right? I'm just going to say, like, let's say a couple 100,000, right? Phil, you're 1 out of 100,000 people, let's say, right? Like, not that's not the number. I don't know the number. I don't care about the number. But that's basically what you're saying, is you're more important than everybody else in Renton, Washington.
let's see what happens. I don't want to be Mr. Doom and Gloom. I don't want to be, oh God, that's also why I'm not saying, hey, definitely we're doing the marathon this weekend. I want to do the marathon this Saturday. Okay? I do. But I can't guarantee it. All right? I can't. I tell you tentatively, let's say that this Saturday, which is September 26th. No, the 27th. Saturday the 27th. Let's say tentatively that's the worst games ever marathon. But understand, that may not happen. Understand, it may be up and down. And it would suck if it does, but what can I do? All right? I'm going to try to keep, unlike previously where I would lose my cool and I would go crazy and I would say doom and gloom, the sky is falling. I'm going to try to keep a level head. All right? I am. I'm going to try to be calmer and say, let's approach this very fairly, matter-of-factly. Listen, Comcast eventually needs to update their infrastructure. It's necessary for the business. Does it suck that they have no redundancies so to protect the consumers from losing internet? Yes.
They do. And Phil knows this because Phil has brought it up himself. Comcast offers a 4G LTE backup. The issue with that is it's only capable of 10 megabits down, 1 megabit up. Now, Phil can stream on that, no problem, right? He just won't be able to dual stream to Kick. And we all know Kick doesn't make Phil very much money. That's where all the LARPers, that's where all the dent tractors, and that's where all the sock accounts and trolls go, right? Because it's so easy to mess with Phil on Kick. Now, what Phil can do is he could just not stream to Kick that day. He can stream to YouTube and ask the Kick viewers to come and watch on YouTube. That's where he makes his bread and butter. And he can do that 1080p 60 AV1 at 1 megabit. At 1 megabit. He'll be perfectly fine. It'll work. Even if you drop it down to 720p, you wouldn't even notice that much of a difference. Like, you're looking at this now. This is Phil in 1440p. And it's pixelated, right? Because his OBS settings are just shit, and Darziak fucked all that stuff up. Shout out to the dragon fucker himself, right?
Is that a problem? Yes. Just last year, someone climbed a phone pole and cut an internet line, and we didn't have internet for a day. There's no redundancies to protect someone from simply doing that? No. Oh, why would...
Yeah, the 4G LTE backup. You have that. You've shown it on your stream. You just really don't know how to set it up. So that's a you problem, Phil. That's not Comcast. And again, you're lying to your audience because you're on a business plan, and they give all their business subscribers that 4G LTE back. They even give that to the home users now if they want to pay in a little extra money.
Why would you have that, right? I mean, that would actually be good customer support and experience and good service. They don't have that. It's just, well, bare minimum to get it working, and if it doesn't work, well, fuck you. Well, fuck them. They're going to have a rude awakening. I got to a certain point in my life where I'm just tired of being pushed around. Like when you have an employee who literally is maliciously going...
You see these random edits that he does? Or is that just his stream? You know what I bet that is? I bet you he's dropping frames. Because it's not like a huge edit, it just skips. And we know, like, he's been having issues with, even like when he types into to update the leaderboards and everything like that. he gets encoder overload messages, right? Because he doesn't know how his streaming PC operates. Darziak set it up wrong for him, and now he is basically like overloaded on his GPU. Like, but it just these little skips or these weird edits that he does now in these videos. It's just so fucking shit.
Going inside of my cable modem without my permission, which is illegal, is changing the name of my wireless networks and turning them on, which is illegal, is resetting my modem without my permission, which is illegal. And this goes on for a period of 2 years, and we have documented evidence that it did.
Okay, I got to go down here because this is going to take just a couple minutes here to explain. So, what Phil is talking about here is what we in the community call the hackening of 2023. This happened in September and October of 2023, where Phil came up with this Comcast hacker. Now, Utterly Insane and I, shout out to Utterly Insane, we did a video on this, pretty long video. Actually, I did, I think, about 4 videos on this, covering everything from, because Phil showed a lot of stuff, but the problem is a lot of the stuff was easily debunkable. I'll show you here. Let me bring up a picture. So this is one of the leaks that happened on Kiwi Farms, and Phil showed this as well. And this software that you're seeing here no longer is used. It hasn't been used since 2015 from Comcast, right? And so a lot of the stuff that was leaked here, like I've taken out the data MAC, I've taken out the IP address. This is an IPv6 IP address, and I've taken out the CMTS because all this information is real. It just doesn't pertain to Phil. The IP address is actually for the City Hall in Seattle. The data MAC shows up at Comcast Corporate, and the CMTS shows up in New York. So that's very, very weird. This should all show up at the same place, okay? This is just one of them. Phil showed like stuff from his own site, like his own modem, but it wasn't Phil's modem. Okay, let's just put it out. I'm just gonna put that out there, right? Utterly Insane, and I go over this. So if you want to watch this, the saga, I really go into detail on how the modems and everything worked. Like he said, he had a Comcast employee, like a tech, come out to his place, and they were going to look into this, and they said that he was getting hacked for like 2 years or whatever. That's bullshit, because as soon as you power cycle the modem, the log gets deleted, and there's only a backup for about 24 hours. So there was no way that they could have gone back 2 years and shown that this Comcast employee that didn't exist. This leak is from Kiwi Farms by a guy named Dan Green. I appeared on Agent Proper's live stream to debunk this, because the Kiwis were even sure that Dan Green was full of shit, because a lot of the stuff didn't add up. The modems that Phil had listed on his account aren't provided by Comcast Business or Comcast Residential. There were IP issues, there were date issues, there were time issues, there were emails that didn't exist, there were phone numbers that didn't exist, all the MAC IDs, the IP addresses that Phil was showing on his modem didn't exist, stuff was entered incorrectly on like how the Xbox is listed in the network tree. There was so much wrong with this, and the issue was, at the time, Phil was having issues with his modem. He had his modems replace, both the downstairs modem and the upstairs modem. And I also have a video on the thing that goes into this. I am going to possibly do another video to tackle the Wi-Fi issue. And basically, Phil had the modems replaced when the tech was there. Because Phil has issues with his coax cables going to the second floor, they put in a booster. The tech said Phil didn't need that anymore, and this is coming from Phil's own stream. So they removed that. After that, Phil started having the connection issues. And because he's running 2 modems on one line, he's effectively what's called double NAT. Now, you can run 2 modems on one line, but you are going to have IP conflicts. And Phil has now even caused this issue to deepen currently in his setup, because he's now put in a Netgear router. But instead of attaching it to the modem that's upstairs, Phil does have a Netgear CM1200. He put it in the modem downstairs, but didn't bridge that gateway provided by Comcast. And that causes now a triple NAT issue. So that's why his Wi-Fi drops out a lot, because it conflicts with the gateway and the router on one network. You don't want to do that. You want to bridge that modem and then use that router strictly for the Wi-Fi and the routing for whatever wired devices you have plugged in. But this Comcast hacker doesn't exist. Okay, this is all bullshit. Phil did this for money. A lot of people said, oh no, Phil couldn't do this. Like, it's not something, because he had renamed stuff to Liana. But we've seen recently that, yes, Phil will stoop to lower levels. Case in point, with the Kino saga that just went on, Phil used his wife, Catherine Brunel, stating that she possibly had cancer and that his mother, Linda, was terminal, and then admitted that was all a lie. Okay, that was in the Twitter and Discord leaks that he had between him and Ashen and Andy, right? So we know Phil will stoop pretty low to get money, to get what he wants.
And I didn't do anything about it at that time. And that person went on Kiwi Farms and posted up all the evidence that it really happened. So I didn't even have to lift a finger, because it actually is posted on Kiwi Farms right now, all the evidence that they did it. So you get to a point where it's like, no, I'm not going to be pushed around. I understand. If the internet has to be up.
See these weird skips and edits. I don't know what that is on his on-demand videos. Darziak, you got to go fix that.
Been down for a while. I get it. But I'm not going to go out of business. All right, I'm not. And I'm not going to sit here and freak out about it. I'm not going to be like, oh my God. What I'm going to say is, let's play it by ear. This week, let's have a normal week. Let's enjoy Chronos and Silksong. Let's enjoy Silent Hill after 2 days. Let's have a great 3 days, all right? Great 3 normal days where everything is good and everything is working fine, all right? And then let's see how things go starting on Thursday. Now, I won't be here Thursday. I'm taking the day off on purpose. Let's see. If I come back on Friday and it's up and down, it sucks, but what can you do, right? Hopefully, like I said, we can have an established time when the internet will actually be working, even if it's later. And then I can at least consistently do 1 stream a day during the time when all this is going on. I hope, fingers crossed, right? So let's see what happens. Okay? Let's figure it out together. Let's not freak out. Let's not lose our cool or our minds. Let's just play it. And you know, oh, I accidentally misclicked. I'm sorry, Muckman. I misclicked you. I did not mean to do that. There, I've fixed that. Sorry about that, Muckman. Okay. All right. So when I have more information, I'll let you know. If I get any updates, if I hear anything, I will let you know. Okay? But in the meantime, excuse me, there's not anything I can really do. It's not in my power. I want to be here. I can't be if this is happening. I will just keep you in the loop on everything. All right? And we'll work together to figure this out. Fingers crossed. All right? Cool. All right. Some shout-outs, because a bunch of contributions came in all at once here while I was talking. Thank you to XBTWXD over on Kick, who's dropping some kicks in the chat right now. Mr. Bun the Juice did a $2.66 super chat. These are difficult times. I can relate. Stay strong, Phil. Well, thank you, Mr. Bun the Juice. It's not like I'm destitute or anything. You know what I'm saying? But, dude, if I can't work for like a month, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to pay bills. I got to make money. And all my money, well, I don't say all, most of my money is made on stream. If I can't stream, literally that's Comcast's fault. You tell me I can't work. You're preventing me from working because you're not going to have a way for me to have internet when you decide to do an upgrade to your network. That doesn't sound...
You have it. The 4G LTE. That's not Comcast's problem. They gave you the option of what you can do, and you're just refusing it because you're so fucking narcissistic that you think your life matters over possibly 100,000 people that live in Renton, Washington.
Sound very good, does it? It sounds to me like that's a problem. Genesis Gaming, 43 months as a member on YouTube, says maybe trying to get a backup like Starlink and have it active when something like this is happening. I understand what you're saying, but number one, I looked into Starlink, and in my area, it wasn't like guaranteed to work very well. And number two, I mean, you're talking about paying for an entirely different ISP, which is expensive. Like right now, for Comcast, I'm paying a lot of money a month, hundreds of dollars a month for internet. Now you expect me to do that twice, and one of them I'm not going to use just in case. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, man. I guess we'll have to see. Again, I'm not against.
We're going to go over this shortly because I'll actually give you the prices that Phil is paying.
But when I looked into it like 2 years ago when I had this malicious stuff going on with this employee of Comcast, there were just no viable options. Seriously, there was none. Nothing was going to be as good as what I had. So there was no point in switching. There was one company that was way slower speeds. I couldn't even probably stream with it. And then there was Starlink, which wasn't guaranteed to work. That's exactly right. The problem is upload speed. Starlink internet, you can probably download fine, but the upload, I need to be able to upload and stream 1440p at the least, even if I say, okay, I have to stream 1080p, right? Still. And exactly, that's correct. Copper Chef says Starlink's packaging setup is a minimum of $500. You're right, I looked into it. To get Starlink at your place, they charge you between $500 to $1,000 just to set it up. And then you're not guaranteed that it's going to work well. You have
You'll spend $10,000 plus on your setup here, Phil, over the entire Kino arc, but you won't spend $500 for backup internet, okay?
To pay up front. Pretty crazy. Genesis Gaming, that's not how it works. He says, you don't have to have it active, turn it off when you don't use it, no extra cost. That's not how it works. You have to pay up front to get Starlink installed, and it's a monthly, you have to set a contract. Just like all the ISPs are contracts. None of them are like, oh, pay when you use it, don't pay when you don't use it. They're all contracts. There's only 2 providers in my area, Xfinity, whose I have, that's Comcast, and one is called Earthlink.
I've shown you guys this. There's 11 in Phil's area. Well, the top 11 in Phil's area. There's more. He's just, again, like, he's just conning his viewers for money.
And apparently Earthlink is the one that's the competitor that's offering the fiber internet. Yeah, see, here's the problem. The fiber internet is not widely available. There's another company doing fiber internet. Only 8% of the people who live in my city can get it, or the town. Yeah. This is awful.
You chose to live there, Phil. That was your choice. Like, that's not any ISP's fault. Well, yeah, well, you can blame the ISP because, you know, the infrastructure in the United States is shit. But you chose to live there without doing any type of research, so.
Awful. This is awful. This is awful. It's all cell phone internet. I was right. That's awful. Yeah, awful. Yeah, Starlink says right here, I can get Starlink, but it says 25 to 220 megabit per second download. That's not good. And that's not even saying the upload. That's legit not good. Yeah.
Okay, let me show you guys something here really quick. Actually, let me go this fucking home really quick. Well, as quickly as I can because I'm fucking low levels. Gotta hit level 60, get my Paragon up. Then I can transfer into a Hydra Sword or something else. Okay, so let's bring this up here. I'm going to show you guys what Phil has currently for his internet speed. So this is Phil's internet speed. Now, Phil keeps claiming that he's got like 900 megabit internet, or 800 megabit internet, or 750 megabit internet, or 500 megabit internet. He doesn't. Phil has 300 megabit internet. Now, this is taken from earlier this year when Phil was playing Microsoft Flight Simulator. I think this was back in April, I believe, March, April. Can't remember. The maximum download that Phil could reach was 300 megabits per second, or 300 megs per second, or 30 megs per second, right? And that's denoted right here. This is also corroborated when Phil got the Switch 2 in June and he was downloading Mario Kart World. The exact same thing happened. He topped out at 30 megs per second, or 300 megabits. So we've heard Phil say a lot of stuff, like he can have, like, he's got, again, 500 megabits, 750 megabits, 800 megabits, 900 megabits. 900 megabits doesn't exist on Comcast Business, and we'll bring it up right here and right now. So these are the packages that are currently available in Phil's area. Okay, so you can see this here. We got Phil's address and everything entered in. So these are the only packages currently available. There is no fiber, like I said earlier. That's not available in Phil's area. There's only 150, 300, 500, 800, and 1.25 gigabits per second. Now, Phil can't get more than 800 because his modem, let's bring this up here, Netgear CM1200. This modem on Comcast Xfinity will not go with speeds of up to 800 megabits, so he can't get higher than that on Xfinity. If he wanted higher speeds than 800 megabits, he would have to buy a new modem or go back to using the Comcast gateway. Now, this is also a security concern because Phil doesn't have any router attached to his system. That means he has no hardware-based security for firewall or hardware-based virus scan, which you get on the Comcast-provided gateways. And, because Phil said something stupid last week about how Comcast can't change out his IP, that's Phil's own doing. In order to have a static IP, you must be using a Comcast-provided gateway, so Phil can no longer use static IPs. And Phil's IP has already been leaked, so people have Phil's IP. Nobody fucks with him with that, right? Nobody cares. I did it last April through Street Fighter 6 when the Akuma got released, and I matched up with Phil, right? P2P, it's easy to get. I contacted Phil. Leave it at that, right? So if Phil wanted faster internet, he would have to buy a new modem. So Phil can't get the 900 megabits that he says. Now, where Phil sees that, so we know for a fact that Phil has 300 megabits, right? We know. So we select this option. And that'll bring up a site where it's just got a breakdown of everything that's going on in Phil's package that he has. And I'll show you where Phil gets these numbers from. Because the numbers that Phil gets are just fucking weird. Oops, wrong site, wrong page. You cost details. So this is the breakdown for Phil's package here, right? So this is what Phil is going to be paying per month, right? So we see his charges, we see how much he's paying just for the one package. Okay, if we scroll down, this is where Phil gets this 40 megabits from. Now this is theoretical speed because of how it's calculated within, like how they count, how it's calculated bits and bytes, right? So it's this is 40.66, but Phil will never see more than 35. Here is the actual speed that Phil gets. And we saw that in that picture, right? Phil only has a 300 megabits line. So this is what Phil is currently using. Now, if I go all the way up to, say, 800, right? Because that's as fast as Phil can go. So Phil actually had this, right? We're going to see how much Phil is actually paying. So monthly total is $209.94. And if we look at this, it's still $835. That is the max that Comcast can currently do in Phil's area right now. This is where Phil gets this 900 from. Because Phil has looked at this, okay? Phil has looked at this site, and this is where Phil gets these numbers from. Right? But this is theoretical peak limit. But Phil will never get more. Phil will never get faster. He may get a 5% boost. Most cable providers provide a 5% boost. So, but it's not going to be that much, right? Even if I were to go to the 1.2 gigabit line, again, it's just going to be a 35 megabit up. So again, right? That's what Phil can get. I get 250 megabits, right? So that's on my package. I have a 2 gigabit line down with 250 megabits up. Right? That's what I have because I have what's called enhanced cable. And that is what is getting done in Phil's area. So Phil's going to have the enhanced cable done for himself. They may give him new packages, but he's going to have to pay more for that. Like if Phil's not going to pay this, right? So you're looking at $269.94 monthly total. First month includes one-time monthly service charges, blah, blah, blah. So his first month is going to be $379.94. So, like, if Phil was paying for two of these packages, like, imagine paying nearly $1,000 a month just for internet, right? And that's Phil's own problem, right? Phil wanted to go with the business line so he could flex. Now, what I want to do here is I want to answer some questions. Basically, one major question is, again, like, why doesn't Phil just switch internet providers? And I think this is something this idiot doesn't really understand. AT&T, Comcast, Verizon, it doesn't matter. They all use the same infrastructure. There's not like an AT&T line, there's not like a Comcast line. They all use the same backbone. They all use the same nodes. They all use the same routers, right? Like I don't have like we have how many ISPs here? I have TELUS, Rogers, and then we have things like Fido and Wind and Kudo and everything like that. I don't have 4 or 5 nodes sitting on my front lawn. Okay? They all use the same infrastructure. And when we did our upgrades back in the 90s here in Canada, all the ISPs, all the big telecoms put money in to have those upgrades done. Right? Now, of course, in the United States, it's different because, you know, they're fucked up. Right? Like, let's just face it. The infrastructure there is so fucked. Right? Like, companies don't want to cooperate like they do here, even though most of the companies here don't really cooperate. But for infrastructure upgrades and stuff like that, the government will give them grants to do the infrastructure upgrades, right? And that's why our internet here is better, right? We have FTTH, whereas in the States, it's mostly FTTN. Again, FTTN is just fiber to neighborhood. and it's just slower because it's fiber to copper instead of fiber to fiber. We have fiber to fiber here. There are places in the States that do have that Google did it for. But Phil switching ISPs, it wouldn't matter, right? Even if Phil, say if Phil had his downstairs modem is AT&T, or Phil and his studio, that he calls it now, upstairs was Comcast. If somebody crashed into the node, it wouldn't matter. You'd be down, right? The only time it's going to matter is if Comcast is upgrading their own server, then yes, Phil would be down, right? And AT&T would be up. That would be the only time. If there's any issue, like if there's any damage to infrastructure, it's going to impact all the ISPs. It's not going to impact just one. So he can't do that. Again, second question. Why doesn't he just get Starlink? He can. He doesn't want to pay the $500 fee. And it's roughly the same speed that he is currently getting now. So it wouldn't be that much better. It would be better that he had that for a backup, sure, and pay that $500 initial fee. I don't know what the fees are. I really don't care because I'm never going to have Starlink. So I don't know what the cost is for the line, for the actual line, just internet per month. So he can do that, right? And that would probably be his best bet. Or he can go through a Wi-Fi company, something like Mobility or whatever. Then he can just hotspot, right? And then have that. That's the other option because the hotspots are going to be working different. So he does have some options. It's just stuff that he's not willing to do, or he's too stupid to know about, and so is Darziak, the dragon fucker. The last question that a lot of people have been asking is, is this going to help Phil in the long run? Yes and no. You can tell by just looking at Phil's stream here. It's just muted here for a second. Let's just play it. You can tell how pixelated it is and everything, right? I've got it set to 1440p. You can see how pixelated everything looks. You can only bump your bitrate to a certain point where it's no longer going to matter. Now, Phil already blows out his bitrate. What is... Hold on a second here. Let me do this. YouTube bitrate recommendations. Okay, so here are the bitrate recommendations currently for things like AV1. So Phil is currently streaming at 1440p, 60 FPS. Minimum bitrate setting is for AV1 is 6 megabits per second, right? Phil is running 16,000, and I would recommend that. If you're going to be using 30 megabits for AV1, that's for things like HDR. If Phil's not using HDR, then he should be using 6 megabits. That's it. Instead, Phil's using 16,000. And on Kick, they support up to 8,500, but Kick doesn't support AV1. They only support H.264, which is the regular NVIDIA NVENC. So yes, he's going to need to use 8,000 kilobits, which is just 8 megabits per second. So in total, Phil should only be at 14 megabits per second. Instead, Phil is almost at 30 megabits per second. You saw that. He only has a 35 megabit up. So that doesn't leave a lot of room for online gaming on his stream or any other devices that may be attached to his whatever networks he's on. So you can see why he lags a lot. And this also gets into things like buffer bloat because Phil is using just a straight modem with no router or anything in between. And I'm talking about a Wi-Fi router. I'm not talking about a little dinky 4-port wired router, because that doesn't have any protection. That doesn't have any type of... Because he's probably using a non-managed Netgear one. I believe that's what he had prior. That was up in his closet at one point. So that's not going to help him either. And then he's going to run into things that are called buffer bloat. And buffer bloat is basically network traffic. If you don't have what's called QoS, which is just packet scheduling, or the new one, which is called SQM, if you don't have that available to you, then all of the raw data is all coming in at the same time. And that's not good. You want to have it scheduled out. On my router here, I bought my router back at Christmas time. I bought a new one here. I bought a TP-Link BE550. Fucking wicked Wi-Fi router. Wi-Fi 7, everything. I customized it the best that I could. Hardware VPN. I put on a lot of stuff onto that thing. Scheduled it for my gaming, for streaming, and everything like that. Works like a charm, right? So when I'm watching like a 4K video, like say, because I look after my parents, I have a little home theater room set up for them upstairs where they sit and watch in the evenings. If they're watching movie on there, it's not going to impact me at all for my gaming, for my streaming. I have so much bandwidth as it is, but Phil doesn't have any of that. So that's why you see a lot of issues with Phil streams as it pertains to like its quality, right? It's pixelated and everything. It just looks like shit. That's probably why Phil sees a lot of lag, especially when he is the guest, when he's playing against somebody playing Street Fighter or SNK. When Phil is the host, he's fine, but when he's a guest, it can't work because he just has so much buffer bloat. I guarantee you he gets an F rating if he does that. If you want to check your buffer bloat, just search that on Google for buffer bloat test, and you can test yours. If you're A plus, A minus, or A or B, you're fine. Don't worry about it. C, D, E, or F, yeah, you may want to take a look at your network. Maybe use like a TCP/IP optimizer. You can find that on just search Google. Be the first one on the list. Works really, really well. That'll help you out a lot. But as for this Comcast issue, and I know this has gone longer than I wanted it to, Phil's scamming his audience again, right? And I want to talk to Phil's audience here. Don't fall for this. Don't give him money, because this is all a con. This is all something that he created on his own. And he's mad that they're upgrading, so he cannot fleece you for money, right? Even if this didn't happen, there'd be another emergency. So, like, don't fall for this shit. I know tomorrow I'm going to be refreshing the Outage page. And if you guys want to follow along, you can go to the Outage page, search Brunel Productions. It's publicly registered here. I'll bring it up here for you guys really quick. Just going to search Brunel Productions rent. Holy shit, look what somebody did on Google already. Right? Because this is publicly trade. This is a public registered company. This is Phil's actual thing here because it's registered for the city of Renton, for Chamber of Commerce. Like, you can search this and you can bring it up on the Outage page and you can follow along all day long if you want. Because I guarantee you Phil's going to be making up some bullshit story about, guys, it's really bad and I really need your help and blah, blah, blah. And this could go on maybe longer than a day. It could. But again, Phil has signed the TOS for Comcast. He's agreed to their terms. If they got to do maintenance on their issues, act of God or whatever, they don't have control over that, right? That's something Phil's going to have to put up with. And Phil could stream using that Wi-Fi backup. So I hope this has been informative for you guys. I want to thank you guys for watching. I do want to give one quick shout out to somebody very special and near and dear to me in the community. Guy with two names, the Tractor Beam Discord, man. We all love you. We all support you. And guys, thanks again for watching. I'm out.